It's definitely not sexy. It's definitely not cool. It's definitely not fun, but it is true. Hey there, Coach Devin here. You're starting a new diet. You're excited about it. I've helped a lot of people with a lot of diet plans over the years. And the number one concern for people is their diet's gonna fail. It's not gonna work. What am I doing wrong? They think right off the gun, this is just not gonna work. Well, you know what? I've done this a long time. I've been a trainer for 28 years now. I've owned a gym for 11 years. I can tell you there's 5 major reasons diets do not work. There's 5 reasons diets fail and that you will fail if you're on this diet. So listen up, pay attention, and I can tell you some of the reasons why diets fall apart, why diets don't work, and why you're setting yourself up for failure, and maybe some ways to set yourself up for some positivity at the end. All right, before we get going, please hit that heart and subscribe to the channel. The heart is right over here. The subscription is right down there. The reason I make these videos is hopefully to help people be more healthy and fit. And I've been a trainer, like I said, for 28 years. I owned a gym for 11 years. This is what I do for a living. This is my passion. I love it. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to health and fitness. There's a lot of bad information out there. So rather than letting the bad information continue, please like, subscribe, comment if you have a question, hit that bell on the other side. You'll know when I'm making a new video, and please subscribe, share this with your friends. All right, reason number 1, diets don't work. And these are not necessarily in a specific order, but this is my number 1 reason. Number 1, it cuts out a bunch of food groups. Okay, if your diet is saying all fat is bad, that's not true. If your diet is saying all protein is bad, it's not true. If your diet is saying all carbohydrates are bad, hello keto, it's not true. You can't demonize one food group over another. Are there any bad food groups? Well, yeah. Trans fats, that's about the only one that springs to mind for me that I say, okay, that's a bad food group, never eat it. Outside of that, and there's no trans fats and things really nowadays anyway, they've gotten rid of most of them, so we don't really have to worry about trans fats nowadays. So in reality, is there anything you have to get away from completely? No. Protein is not bad for you. Too much protein is bad for you though. Fat is not bad for you. Too much fat is bad for you. Carbohydrates are not bad for you. Too much carbohydrates are bad for you. Those are all truisms when it comes to health and fitness. When you want to be healthy, you can't cut out one entire food group like protein, carbs, or fats and assume you're going to be healthy. It's not doable. And if you have a diet that is saying to you, get rid of something or demonizing some type of food group, you're doing it wrong. It's not going to work because it's not sustainable, not long-term. Keto, I'm talking to you. If you say you're not going to eat carbs anymore, people are not going to do that. And what happens is when you come off keto, guess what? You gain all the weight back. Gain the weight back because your body, yes, you can get rid of it, but you have to be on keto forever. No one stays on keto forever. I've tried it, trust me. It's not sustainable, it's not workable, don't do it. So that's number 1. Number 2, you're hungry all the time. Look, you're going to be a little bit hungry when it comes to eating, being in a caloric negative. And a caloric negative just means you're taking in fewer calories than you're burning off. I'm burning off 2,000 calories a day, for example, and I'm taking in 1,800. Great, that's perfect. You'll lose weight. I'll lose weight in this example. I'm about to lose weight, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be starving all day. Will I be a little bit hungry? Yes. Am I going to be stuffed? No. You can't be stuffed full of food and lose weight. It's not going to happen to you. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. You may be a little bit hungry, but if you are starving and you're in a diet, starving every day, guess what happens? Not sustainable. You won't do it. You'll get pissed off, you'll get angry, you'll eat some food you shouldn't have eaten, and then you're off the diet and bad things happen. So don't believe when somebody says you need to starve all the time. It's not about starving all the time. Cabbage soup diet, I'm talking to you. You can't be starving every day. It's not reasonable. So that's a guaranteed. If somebody says to you, this is a great diet, but you're so hungry all the time, you won't be successful. It will ruin it. You're not going to get ahead on that one. Don't do that diet. Okay, so don't be hungry all the time, like starving all the time. A little bit hungry is okay. Starving is very, very bad. It will just put you off every single time, and you will make mistakes on that. Number 3, does your mood suck? Now, are you a cranky person? Okay, well, that's a little different thing. I can't help you with crankiness. Listen, if you're cranky and you're just pissed off all day long, that's you. That's not on me. But if your mood is suddenly changed and you feel like crap every day, you're probably doing something wrong in your diet. It's probably too restrictive. It's probably not working the way you want it to work. Guess what? You're just doing too much of something if your mood has wrecked your diet. It shouldn't. You should feel good all day. You should feel in a pretty good mood all day. A little bit hungry, that's fine. But being down, exhausted, feeling like crap, your mood is crappy, you're in a bad mood all day, guess what? You're doing something wrong. Your diet is too extreme. You need to back it the hell down. Because if you don't back it down, nobody's going to be around you anymore. Everybody's going to dislike you. Do you really want that? You're going to feel awful. The whole point of a diet is not to feel awful. The point of diet is to be more healthy. Lose some weight and be more healthy. That's the point of it. If it is ruining your mood and you're in a bad mood all the time, then you're doing it wrong and you need to get the hell off that diet. It's not reasonable. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work for you. Don't do it. Number four, if your diet says you have to go long periods of time without eating any food at all, is not going to work. Look, intermittent fasting. I'm looking right at you. Every diet in the world comes down to calories in versus calories out. It's not rocket science. It just is what it is. It is science, though. It's definitely science. Telling somebody they can't eat for X number of hours, it's not real. You can eat all day long, provided you don't eat too many calories and lose weight. You can eat all day long, provided you're in a calorie maintenance level. So if you're 200 pounds and you eat 2,000 calories over the course of an entire day, you'll stay the same weight. But if you are going long periods of time without eating, there is no benefit to that. There just is not a benefit to it. There's no point in doing it. It really is just a little workaround for people who think that somehow long periods of time without eating is going to be beneficial to you. It's no more beneficial than eating 6 or 7 small meals in a day. No different. But you know what it will do? It will put you in a crappy mood. It will make you a little dizzy and feel like shit. A lot of bad things can happen with it. So yes, some people love intermittent fasting. If it works for you, do it. If that's your thing, great. However, if somebody gives you a diet plan that includes long periods of fasting or don't eat after 7 o'clock at night, they don't know what they're talking about. They just don't. And you shouldn't be doing it. People say to me all the time, I don't eat after 6 p.m. I'm like, why? They're like, well, you shouldn't eat after 6. It's going to turn into fat. I read that in a book. And I'm like, that book is full of it. It's not real. That's not a thing. It's not honest. It's full of crap. Period. End of discussion. So don't follow something that says, you should long periods of time you can't eat. Not a thing, not real, not scientific, made up. Okay? Number five, and honestly, one of my favorite ones. Okay? It's one of my favorites. You got to eat protein. Any diet that tells you protein is unimportant is lying to you. Okay? They don't know what they're talking about. I don't care if you're vegetarian, vegan, keto. Well, it wouldn't be keto because they eat a lot of protein. Intermittent fasting, South Beach, whatever your diet is, if they tell you protein is not important and not a big deal, they're lying to you, especially if you're exercising. And that goes hand in hand with any diet that tells you you don't need to exercise to lose weight. Yes, that's true, but exercising is what's going to allow your body to be healthy. Being overweight is a bad thing. Being not overweight but horribly unfit is also a bad thing. People die of heart attacks all the time who are thin people. But you know what? They haven't taken care of themselves. You need to exercise. You need to have protein. Both those things, I kind of tied two of them together there, but both those things are super important. You cannot break them apart and say, I don't need to exercise, I'm just going to diet. You can lose weight, but you will be unhealthy. So if the goal is health, and most people, the goal is health and losing weight, well, guess what? You have to exercise. If the goal is to be healthy and to lose weight, you need protein. Anybody who tells you any different is not telling you the truth. Listen, look, there's a million diet plans out there, and most of them are full of shit. Period. End of discussion. It's just a fact. There's a lot out there, and they're all full of it. It comes down to calories in versus calories out and making sure you exercise. That's it. It's not rocket science. It's not exciting. It's not cool. I would make a lot more money if I wrote myself some sort of diet plan that tells you to do this and jump on one foot for 10 minutes and do this and do that. There's a lot of money in that. But you know what? My mom and dad taught me to be honest and to tell the truth, and that's what I do on this channel. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's definitely not sexy. It's definitely not cool. It's definitely not fun, but it is true. And that's what's the most important part. So those are my 5 things you need to run away from. If a diet plan says any of those things, run the other direction and don't do it. I've helped enough people over my career of 28 plus years lose a lot of weight to tell you that none of those things are actually going to do any good, but they are common knowledge out there and people think they're real. You have comments, questions, things you want me to talk about, write them up down below. If you have questions on diet, I love questions on diet, fire them down there. I'd love to hear from you. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Don't fight the awesome.